So we're going to talk about the economy. Historically, Bloomberg has used a recession probability model that incorporates factors like housing permits, consumer sentiment, corporate profit outlooks, and treasury yield gaps. It doesn't always work, though. For example, in October of 2022, Bloomberg projected a 100% chance of recession by October of 2023, driven by aggressive Federal Reserve rate hikes, tightening financial conditions, and persistent inflation. Obviously, that didn't happen. Here we go again. Consumer confidence fell this month by the most since August 2021 on concerns about the outlook for the broader economy. That, according to Bloomberg. Many consumers actually think we will see a recession later this year. That pessimism has more than half of consumers putting off major life plans due to their uncertainty over the future state of the economy and the possible consequences of Trump's tariffs. Of those, about a third said that they're putting off buying a house, while I was going to say probably the interest rates and the lack of housing stock might have something to do with that, while 1 in 6 have put off education plans. Maybe they think, well, under Trump, you don't really need to be educated. And 1 in 8 have pushed back retirement. And that, I think, is an actually useful measure. Joining us to talk about this is friend of the show, Aquiles Larrea. He's the CEO and founder of Larrea Wealth Management and the author of the book Wise Up With Your Money. Check out his new YouTube channel, Aquiles Larrea 1061, Aquiles Larrea 1061. Aquiles, thanks for joining us here on the TMI show.
Thank you for having me. And I'm still worried. You guys still got me worried about the whales in the previous segment. Put a buoy out there. Come on, I agree.
Put a speed limit out there. Come on. That they're getting chopped up by the boats, and these are endangered species.
There's not even 100 of them left.
That's so scary. And like RFK Jr., I know it's not his department, he's HHS, but he is a known, old school environmentalist. You would think he would speak up and say, "Hey, Doug Burgum, what's up with this, man? Like, put a buoy out there with a speed limit."
Doug wants to get rid of him. He wants more. He wants more species that could do work for us.
I know. Oh, I'm so sad about that, and I'm sad about our economy.
Should we be? That's the first question.
I think.
Should we be? I mean, I feel I'm not so convinced that we're about to, go tits up.
Recession?
Yeah, I'm not convinced of that at all. How about let's ask the expert.
Guys, the R word, really right now? Come on. All right, let's break it down. Let's break it down. All right. How do you have a recession? 2 negative GDP quarters. Okay, so 6 months worth of GDP at a negative growth rate. First off, the growth rate in the economy, although slowing down, is still moving at a pace that I'm comfortable with. Unemployment is still somewhat controlled at this point. So the factors, those are the 2 biggest factors that I see for the R word to get yourself all crazy about and worked up. Guys, it's not happening right now. I don't see it. Maybe I'm missing the boat on something here, but what I think at this point is that we are definitely in a bit of a slowdown. The question now becomes, is it the tariffs going to throw us into a higher inflation mode, which thereby starts curtailing the growth, starts upticking the unemployment and driving us towards the R word? That really is the question.
And possibly contributed by rising unemployment due to laid off federal workers. How much of a factor could that be?
That's such a small segment right now versus the population as a whole, but it is a concern, of course. But at this particular point, it doesn't, you can go and find 100,000 jobs more, and fire all those people. You're still not going to have a percentage move to the downside that people are saying. Right now, there's a lot of anger out there because he was going to say he's going to bring down prices. The administration said they were going to bring down prices, going to help find more employment, and they're doing the exact opposite under the guise of, hey, we're just cleaning up the mess that the previous administration put in there. Come on, guys, let's see what's really here. Whenever you talk about Donald Trump, whenever you talk about this administration, the first question I would ask myself is, where is the money? What's happening with him and his administration? Who's making out on this? And I don't have the answer right now, guys, but when he makes an announcement that's shocking, you should be asking yourself, okay, who's getting paid on this?
Well, Aquiles, I mean, he's already now moving forward with the latest tranche of tariffs, right? He pulled back for a month. The last time that you were on, we were talking about this. It was going to happen with Mexico and Canada. And now he says he's going through with it, and he says it's coming on Monday. The cost of everything has gone up. I mean, I know everyone's like hyped up about the eggs right now because obviously it's a kitchen staple. Everybody has to have eggs in there, to make a lot of dishes. I would say in my household, we love eggs. But everyone's frothed up about that. But now you have this new trade war looming, not only with our neighbors, but overseas in Europe. Ultimately, isn't that price hike going to be paid for by the consumer? And how are we going to afford that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's a great observation and all. So what I see is exactly that happen. The pricing of current goods and services are not going anywhere anytime soon. All right. I don't care what this administration says. The reason being is, as you said, once the tariffs start hitting us, we are paying it from day one, because those costs are going to be passed on to the consumers. We are going to pay a lot of money for it, and there is no relief in sight for high priced goods, in my opinion, at this particular point in time. Also, you have to ask yourself, beyond that, look to history. Anytime the United States went into a protectionist or isolation mode, the economy shrank,
Hmm.
the goods and services went up, and led us into, the question is, will it lead us into the R word, or will it lead us into the D word? All right. Now, I'm
Mm.
not going there just yet. I don't believe that we're heading
Yeah.
towards the R word just yet. But this is, I can most certainly see why some economists are saying, yeah, this could possibly happen towards the end of the year and what have. I don't believe that. I think there were more factors in 2 years ago for
Hmm.
a recession, you know, to appear. And I
Achilles,
really thought we were going to have one 2 years ago.
let me ask you
I
I
did
about
too.
two
Yeah.
questions. First, one sort of micro, one sort of macro. So micro, um, is there still? It's my feeling that there's still pent up demand from the COVID lockdown, right, for consumers that are still they're still looking to go out, buy stuff, travel. The airports are crowded. It just seems like so. I'm just wondering if that's your assessment as well. And then my other question um, is the idea of the traditional question of recession versus non-recession versus obviously we haven't seen a depression in a century, but I mean, is that metric maybe no longer useful to describe the current situation? Seems more like a froze session or something where it's like people have houses on sale listed but they stay on the market for 200 days because they're priced too high and nobody can afford them and interest rates are high, but unemployment is low but there's not a lot of hiring going on. People just aren't really moving. In other words, there's an ennui in the economy that's not really reflected by traditional barometer of statistics. I mean, inflation's not really high, but prices remain high. So, people are still like unable to really afford the rent and other things. So is there something else going on, something new going on that probably could be described differently?
I think it's a lot, it's this fear, uncertainty, and doubt going on right now, the FUD. And what's happening is that people are, as you mentioned, the actual numbers, people enjoying themselves and taking those discretionary costs are still flowing now. It is never a sustainable thing in the economy, but it is still going on right now. Purchases are still being made in housing. Let's just take that for a moment. housing, it's about to turn from a seller's market into a buyer's market. You're starting to see incidents where the sellers are having to concede more to buyers. And, I was telling people wait 6, 8 months, but it started earlier, where you can go put put a bid on a house and you're going to be able to pick it up, and you might get some concessions in there as well as a good price or a seller's credit, they call it. But overall, we are seeing a positive trend with negative sentiment. So
Mhm.
that's that X factor you were talking about,
That's so weird.
where what's the underlying thing? Still a lot of positivity out there. And I gotta tell you, I'm so positive I glow in the dark sometimes. But when it
Me.
comes to these type things, you
Or are
never
the
know,
number
it's
or are
not
the numbers
sustainable.
wrong?